We're going to stay in the NFC North here. Um, do the Vikings rebuild or do they run it back? So they've got some big questions here, mainly at the quarterback position. Do they sign Kirk coming off of that devastating Achilles injury? He was playing at an incredible level. Like he was having an MVP type season last year, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Before he got injured, like he was looking fucking great. Um, so
He would
do
have
they
been in
resign?
discussion for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
for MVP, he
So
absolutely.
do they resign him? Does he want to resign there? I would think so. Especially at this point of his career, coming off injury. I don't know how hot the market's going to be on him. But then tied in with that is Justin Jefferson. He's up for a contract extension, but
Yeah.
he wants Kirk. He likes Kirk. He wants Kirk there. He's basically told the team, "I want to wait and see what you guys do at quarterback before making a decision." So he
Mhm.
could be playing out his rookie contract here. I think they would probably franchise tag him for the 1 year, so he could be on a very limited leash here with the Vikings. The rest of the team, I mean, their defense started playing better down the stretch last year, but they still, I feel like, have a lot of holes on the defense. The offense, you got Hawkinson coming back from injury as well.
Yeah.
Alexander Madison didn't really whelm us at all last year. Do they spend some draft capital on running back? Probably, but lots of questions on the offensive side. So, what are your feelings here?
I'm glad you brought up the running back situation because due to what they have as their priorities, which is in order, in my opinion, get Kirk back on a short
Hmm.
term deal. It does seem like he's asking for a lot of money now, it sounds like. But I think the accurate comparison is like, yeah, he's asking for a lot of money because that's what you do.
Hmm.
Like a car dealership is going to have a car listed at MSRP. That doesn't mean they expect you to actually pay MSRP. They're
Right.
building that in for a negotiation, which is what I think that Kirk Cousins is doing.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
he's
this is
bet on
my top dollar,
himself.
right?
He's bet on himself every time he's hit free agency.
Mhm.
He's the first, I think, the only quarterback or player to like have a fully guaranteed contract. Well, I take that back. Deshaun Watson apparently does too now. But at the
Mhm.
time, like he was the first one to be like, no, this is a fully guaranteed, like 3 year contract. Just it is what it is. So he's always bet on himself. And like you said, I think he deserves it.
Sure.
He's proved that he's a good player. As much shit as we love to give him about, like the primetime games, the Monday night games where he just doesn't perform, it's just easier to give him shit about that and pile
Well,
on. But
especially as
really,
Packer fans, like, that's an
yeah.
enjoyable thing to do. Yeah, naturally.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, he's not that bad. Really, he's not. So I think the Vikings would be dumb to not re-sign him.
The only thing so this is such a huge question because rebuilding means you lose Kirk, you lose Justin Jefferson. You still have Jordan Addison,
Hmm.
obviously, for the duration, and he looked very, very good last year,
Hmm.
especially when he
Absolutely.
got called up after Justin Jefferson's injury. But you're gonna have to. It's a good draft if you're going to rebuild because it is so deep at both quarterback and wide receiver.
Hmm.
The thing is, can you actually get one of those top quarterbacks or not? And I've seen people now start touting JJ McCarthy that he's going to be a much higher draft pick than people have thought. Maybe he would be the type of guy that the Vikings would go after, just beyond the top 3 because I think there's too many teams ahead of them to draft that need a quarterback and that would get a quarterback. So they'd have to
Hmm.
trade up for them. Now, I don't know. Justin Jefferson, like you said, wants Kirk to come back. So they have to figure out how to get Kirk back. I think this is the team that has benefited the most from the cap going up by $30,000 this year.
Hmm.
The Vikings are the team that needed that to happen the most. And so it gives them the most flexibility of re signing Justin Jefferson and then taking on a short but costly contract for Kirk Cousins. Now they would have to figure out probably running back, through the draft, and it's not a
Hmm.
very deep running back class. Like they aren't going to have free agent money to spend on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked up the draft order, and the Vikings pick 11th in the first round, so,
Mhm.
I mean, they're not that far away from being able to make a move up. Not saying they're gonna get to, like, the
Sure.
top 3, but
Yeah.
say they wanna get, like, the 3rd or 4th quarterback off the board, whether it is
Mhm.
JJ McCarthy or, I don't even
Bo
know.
Nix or somebody, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, like, they could make that move, or one of those players could fall to them at 11,
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not out of position, but it is a stretch, I think, if they wanna go after one of those top. I mean, I think getting to, like, 1 or 2 to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks is out of the question. I mean, they
Right.
probably have to trade JJ in that
Everything.
deal to make
Yeah.
that happen, and I
Yeah.
just don't think they'll do that. So, yeah, I think their best bet is to get Kirk back on the squad. You have to remember when he signed his contract, 3 years ago or whatever it was one of the higher contracts, as far as like a per year basis at
Sure.
that time. So, not that he reset the market, but
All
he
quarterbacks kind of reset the market every time that they do this
yeah,
thing. It's
that's
all,
true.
Patrick Mahomes' deal looks like a steal now compared to when he signed it, and
True.
it's a blockbuster situation.
Yeah.
So I think that they should run it back, and that pains me to say as a
Mhm.
Packer fan, but I think that they should run it back, and I think that they can make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any reports come out here as the draft is approaching on
Mhm.
Kirk's recovery, or if we start to see videos of him actually like starting to do workouts or stuff like that. The little hype videos to be like, no, no, he's we're gonna re-sign him. We don't have to worry about the draft or anything. But free agency starts before the draft, so
Mhm. They have to get it
it's
figured out.
yeah,
They have to have a
yeah,
plan in place before the draft
yeah,
actually happens.
yeah.
And with Kirk, at least he is like Tom Brady in the fact that he's a purely pocket guy. Like
Hmm.
Kirk Cousins, nobody's valuing him for his escapability. So like he doesn't,
What?
that injury, it could be a lot worse for a different type of player than it is for
Yeah.
him. So I think that'll be fine. I would say right now for Dynasty, because I've seen trades where he's valued next to nothing. I think that you should be floating out in Dynasty if you're a contender and you want a quarterback.
Mhm.
Go chuck a second round at the person who has
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins because I think it would be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a steal, come the regular season, so I like that a lot, Jake.